loose, hit hard, make the whole ball fall. Little bit sweet, little bit reckless. You can't hang, you can't handle Texas. Hands up high if you feel this heat, dust in the
Hey, how's it going out there? This is Boots, Stars, Guitars over here with Tracy Two-Step and Ralph Miguel. Ralph, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Tracy. How you doing?
Awesome. I'm doing decent. I'm doing
All
decent because I tell the complete truth.
Yeah, that's for
Boots,
sure.
Stars, Guitars is BSG, everybody. It is so much easier for me to say to you, BSG. So Boots, Stars, Guitars is where you're at tonight. We are live on many stations. We are a live audience. We are a broadcast for TV. We are a podcast, and we are also on radio. So imagine me with multiple screens right now, live audiences in multiple locations. And then I also get monitored by multiple platforms that say, you can't say this and you can't say that. So welcome to the show, BSG, Boots, Stars, Guitars. Tonight, we have a very special guest with us, Ralph. It's Eric Cager with Cutting Edge. And I wanted you to kind of maybe just give a brief little intro. He's already with us backstage, everybody. So get your people. Come on, y'all share and get in here quick because we're not going to sit here all night. And I'm being very nice.
I have to say I'm very excited for tonight's show, and I'm glad to be a part of it, especially with Eric Cager. He is basically Mr. New Orleans. You know, he's the essence of that city, and you know, he's really done a huge service, I would say, to the entertainment business, especially the music business in all aspects, from the law to songwriting to like metadata. It covers it. It encompasses everything, and I believe it's the 34th annual Cutting Edge Music Conference, and I was very fortunate that I was introduced to Eric by my old dear friend and manager, John Tovar. It's really one of the best things that ever happened to me and everybody involved with me with 100 Meter Scream, and especially with Glory and stuff. So I can't stress enough for artists out there or anyone that's involved in the music industry.
Artists, songwriters, managers, producers.
Entertainment too, because there's film. So anything that's entertainment based, I really encourage and behoove everyone to tune into this, because Eric is a wealth of knowledge, and he's been putting this for, like I said, over 3 decades now. And again, I can't stress enough for people to make their pilgrimage once a year to the Cutting Edge Music Conference, because again, I have to say, you know my story, Tracy. Once long ago, you know, signed to a pretty big label, all that, just down, and didn't think it would ever emerge. And then comes Gloria, and of course Eric Cager. And you know what? I've very blessed to have like a second run. So I'm very excited for Eric.
I'm super excited about this. It is Eric Cager. He is from Cutting Edge. It's conferences and events. He's joining us tonight. The timing couldn't be better because you're correct. It is the 34th annual Cutting Edge Conference coming up August 26th through the 30th, and it is in New Orleans. And Eric, we're going to welcome him to the show and have him in here. Now, Eric has a wealth of knowledge in multiple aspects, multiple areas. So I'm going to go ahead and grab him rather than going back and forth, and we can talk with Eric and let Eric give us a little bit more information. And I'm letting all of you gather up your individuals, share this out. And right now I'm going to bring to the stage, it is Eric Cager from Cutting Edge. How are you?
I'm great. You know, it's the last 7 days before everything starts. I feel good about things. I don't have that. You know, you tend to have always a little bit of the anxiety. The less that you have is probably a result that you have planned and has hit all of your different markers. And therefore, you're able to determine by the number of people who are texting, emailing, or calling you frantic because they don't know what's happening.
That sounds like
that is, you know, that's so I feel good about that. You know, that's always my own personal barometer. Whenever you produce an event, you have to develop your own personal barometers as to what you think made the event work. And if you're not evaluating, some people say, "Oh, should we get together afterwards and have a evaluation of what happened?" My thing is, you need to get together before and try not having anything bad happen.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
this is afterwards for anything that you've done wrong or you've allowed to happen wrong. Then what are you doing? What about those people? So I try to talk to people all the time. I have about 8 people that I consult with all the time, right? And I talk to them. I put things out. I ask their opinion about what it is. We go back and forth. You know, I'll change something. I'll be like, look, I'm not infallible, so I'll just keep on bringing it to the table. And literally, I've already have a framework of 2027 cutting edge already percolating in people's mind, so that it's about a 14 to 16 month process.
Yes, yes, for sure. But definitely with cutting edge. What I'd like to do, I'm getting some questions here. It is Eric Cager. They're asking, how did you get involved in music and the entertainment business? And then I'm going to let you answer it, but I want to let them understand that Cutting Edge is an actual event that is coming up here very, very soon. And we're talking about putting on the event and the time and everything that goes into that. But you're also going to hear what type of event it is. And I'm being asked if you could tell us, how did you first get involved in music or entertainment in the first place, in the particular moment that you realized it's something that you enjoyed, or do you even enjoy it? That's actually what I'm being asked.
Of course I enjoy it. I enjoy it more than anybody else.
Good.
This is that. Look, if you're not going to enjoy it, you're not going to endure it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
So how did I get started? I'm from New Orleans. I'm from an area where that one of my great uncles was Fats Domino's best friend. Guys like Jesse Hill and all of those old rhythm and blues guys are parts of my family. I probably first remember going into a bar when I was about 13 years old. And basically, it was a fascinating environment to me. This was where all the old guys that I knew who worked with my dad and who worked factories and were contractors and carpenters. This is where they all went. And it was always the music playing. And let's be honest, when you went into a bar at that age, it was always the music. The music is what you remember. They usually wouldn't let you go no further than sit by the jukebox. Right? You couldn't sit by the bar. They didn't want you in there anyway, but they'll let you sit over by the jukebox so you could kind of like be invisible. But you remember the songs, right?
Most definitely.
Even more than the radio, you remember the songs in the jukebox.
Yes.
So that's how I got exposed to it, and being around these guys, and bars at that time, you might have a Jesse Hill or one of those guys come in there and do a tune, right? They'll do a tune right there, right? So in New Orleans, you're not that far from music, particularly in the Black community. You're not that far from music, right? Even I went to the Catholic schools and went to all that. So you get involved with things like the high school productions. You get involved in. And the question is, are you the person who's going to be on the stage? Or are you going to be the person who's telling everybody who gets on the stage? I just discovered that I was the person who should be telling people who get on the stage. That's
Oh,
really what it was.
yeah.
One, because I'm not a great I was never a great musician. As a matter of fact, the band director told me something. He said, you should go to the Mac Club because there really isn't enough chairs in this orchestra. Right? You know, you have the fourth, fifth chair and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
We don't have enough chairs.
Yeah.
And you need to go down. And I was like, well, okay. You know, I left. So that's how I basically got started, and it started early. Like most everybody that I know who's in the music industry and take it serious, they started when they were in high school.
Yes.
They got involved with production. They got involved with the studio. They got a little studio in their house. They play a guitar, whatever. All the guys I know, the Paul Diaz and all those guys, they started doing studio work and production work when they were 15, 16 years old. So that's when I started. By the time I got to college, I pretty much had it kind of in my mind exactly what you know. I had other things I wanted to do. I'm basically a historian by nature. So history and cultural history and New Orleans cultural history means music.
Yes.
So all of that and my natural desire to want to put on things, right? To put on shows. So I just started doing it there. I stopped it for a minute because I got involved in more financial pursuits like pension planning and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And getting
something to pay the bills.
Of course, and getting involved with the financial and the business aspects of things, which have served me extremely well.
Yes.
It has served you extremely well to take a hard look in the music business at finance.
It really does. It is a business. Music is a business, and that is something that we preach.
And I started cutting edge simply because, I convinced the mayor. I was working for this mayor, and as we were riding from an event in a limousine, he asked me, he said, well, what do you want to do in the second administration? And I told him, I said, I want to be the deputy director of the airport. He said, no. He said, no, that's too heavy of a lift for you. Give me something that I could absolutely tell you right now. I said, I want to be executive director of the music commission then.
There you go.
He said, well, okay, I could get you that one. You can have that one.
Yeah. So
I did that. Didn't have a budget. I had to fabricate everything, which started me on my how do you fabricate money to do stuff?
A lot of us want to know the answer to that.
So you really have to think about how you first going to do it without money, and then how you're going to convince people that with some money you can make it happen. So I did all that kind of stuff inside the city, but I discovered something along the way. Nobody understood anything about the music business.
Yeah, true statement.
They did musicians. There was one guy who was going at that time, this was about 1990, who represented himself as a music attorney. One guy named Ellis Paylett. You knew he was a music attorney because he didn't open up his office till 9 o'clock at night. That's true.
Those are the hours.
Those was his hours.
Those are the hours.
Hours were like 9 o'clock at night to 2 o'clock in the morning. And his place used to be packed with people because that was the lifestyle that he had, right? So, I just discovered that there was this mystery around music and around money in music. And Lord knows publishing, what is that? And owning a song, well, you kind of own it, but you never got any money from it.
Right.
And then there was the issue of getting signed. Oh man, can I get signed? You think you could get somebody to get me signed? it's all of this stuff. It became like musicians were the victim of a joke. And the joke was, we don't pay no musicians.
Yeah. And
That was
we
the statement that
want to pay
That's what
musicians.
a record executive actually told me that.
Yeah.
So I thought about that. I said, yeah, okay, well, I don't know how to get people paid, right? I can't make somebody open up their wallet to give people, right? I'm not an attorney, and we're not going to try and fabricate. I didn't want to be another person going around telling musicians I know something I didn't know. But what I did know how to do, I knew how to put things together. So I decided, and I used to go to South by a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I still do.
Yeah.
I have probably only missed about 3 South by Southwest.
No
the
way.
entire time of South by.
It's right by me. I've actually worked with them quite a bit. So,
yeah. I've met Roland Swanson, the guy, Nick, and all of them. And a lot of what I learned about how to set up and what to do with Cutting Edge, I used to hang with them at Meet 'em and just ask them a bunch of questions. And they would tell me like certain things about what to do, what not to do, what posture to take, what posture not to have, and, my thing is you should ask people who really know.
Sure.
We couldn't beat South by, but one of the things I thought that we could do is hinge on something that I was really good at, which was the education aspects of things. Learning things has been one of my secrets, right? I can pick things up quickly. And so we started a Cutting Edge, and it was all going to be based on the education of music. That was it. The legal education, the business education, and bringing people to the showcases and stuff like that was all just to galvanize it and create the glue. But it had to be hinged on what people don't know about business.
Yes. Yeah. And then, of course, in this instance, it's going to be in the music business for Cutting Edge. If you had to do what I consider an experience of an elevator pitch of what Cutting Edge is, I'm going to ask you a few questions here. Number one, who should attend?
People in the music industry who are attempting to move themselves from one level of the industry to the next.
You got it. And it's not primarily just for artists, correct?
No, it's not primarily for artists.
That's right.
The mission of the original mission is for the advancement, the education and career advancement of musicians and music professionals.
Correct. So songwriters, managers, producers, record labels.
The essential people. I've never believed that story that musicians, that people in the business like managers and record labels were inherently bad for musicians. I think that they are essential.
Most definitely. What about we are all about indie here at BSG. So what about your completely independent artist who doesn't have major budget? And that's like a whole big everywhere. So it's not like it's a small thing. That's almost all of us. Or a big team behind them. Is Cutting Edge a place for them? I think it's definitely the place to be as a independent artist that's barely starting or that's even advanced in their career.
Oh, it's definitely that.
Yeah.
So I created the entertainment law too, because there's one, my long-term business partner who is now dead was an attorney. And that's what we did. We did he always handled music. I mean, he always handled the legal part, and I always handled business business parts. And we over the years went through more than just music business, right? So what I learned is that almost every business is going to come down to the legal paperwork. And understanding the legal paperwork becomes essential for a manager, for a producer, for an attorney, for everybody. You need to understand, and you need to meet these people because they're the ones who you're eventually going to be sitting across the table from.
Yes.
And so, you know, I've never thought of Cutting Edge as a beginner's event. I try to build it in on a percentage. There's a percentage of stuff and a percentage of activities, panels, and artists that are in reality baby artists, baby and beginners. I try to do as a good percentage about the intermediate knowledge, and about 20%, 30% is really for advance in your careers, advance in your knowledge, right? And people don't want you to tell them they don't know. They don't. And I don't like being in a position, and I don't want Cutting Edge to be in a position to tell people that, well, I know you don't know. So, you know, this is New Orleans. We do the soft sell.
Yes. Well, so, I mean, if you do not know something,
and we'll just soft sell you around.
To me, if you don't know something or the answer, you just go find the answer. You ask the questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, figuring it out. This is one area at Cutting Edge I can speak to it because I was just there last year. I'll be there again this year. Ralph as well. I'll be grabbing you just a second. Attended Cutting Edge last year. We'll be there again. Don't forget, it's coming up. It's the 34th anniversary of Cutting Edge. And I was there, and there were individuals that had apps that they were building within the music industry. There were people that had been managing major bands from Guns N' Roses that were there. There were sync people there to talk about sync, everybody. Now listen to me. Licensing for TV and film, songwriting rooms about songwriting. There were multiple panels going on that you could just get a wealth of knowledge. And after that, there are bands showcased in multiple places. So this is like a revolving door. I mean, you go and it is a wealth of knowledge and people and information. I was highly impressed and thought, man, this is somewhere that I like to be and I want to come back here. And I do want to pull Ralph in on this. He's muted up there. So I'm going to unmute you, Ralph. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, Eric.
Yes, Ralph.
Yeah, you know, everything that you've stated, Eric, and what Tracy was also saying, I can't stress enough how true that is. And as an artist or musician myself, and you know my story, Eric, we go back a bit. I couldn't believe what I did not know back then. When, as Tracy, you know, when I was with the label and everything else, and some of the people in the music business, they don't really want to educate you on what you need to know. And that's why I stress, and I've learned, especially now with the good doc, you know, Gloria, who we're very fortunate, who's helping and managing us. And you want to talk about really benefiting from Cutting Edge, her as a medical doctor, going in there, and I state this, she went in there and she learned and just a couple of years ago in a Cutting Edge, and thanks to Michelle Maslin and everyone that's there, she learned, in my opinion, 10 to 15 years of knowledge of the music business.
Gloria has a particular talent. She listens.
Yeah. Again,
that is a real that is much of a talent that people need in life than anything else. You need to learn how to listen.
Yeah. And she does, and she absorbs that information, Eric, as you well know, and she's just able to take it to the next level, which I'm guilty of this myself. I can't make excuses as an artist, and I stress this to artists and musicians and bands. They have to learn as much as they can. And I'll tell you something, I've thanks to Cutting Edge, you know, I I'm pretty much up to par what I kind of need to know. There's still more to learn because you're constant thing. You know, the business is changing, as you well know. I mean, every year I'm blown away at panels, Eric, like with the technology and everything, like with like Linda Sapin, and it's just with the stuff she's always bringing. And I can attest to that. It's a wealth of knowledge, which in my opinion, I don't think there's too many other places you're going to be able to obtain. And that, yes,
you know, there's actually a theory to that, right? A guy that I know who brought me into the university environment, Peter Cho. He comes to the conference every year. He does the educators panel. He spoke one year about how do you really bring people up to speed? What's the concept that they function with on university level? How do they really bring people up to speed in what they know? It's a layering process. You layer information, you layer information, you layer information, right? It's almost synonymous to learning how to play the instrument.
Yeah.
You just got to go through all of those different processes.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to talk about prodigies and people who can leap past, but the truth is the vast majority of people are not going to function on that level. And even people who can leap past things are going to find other things that they can't leap past.
Yeah.
So you have to find out how to do it by literally layering the information. And when you get to the point where you have a certain amount of information, enough to ask people questions, you know, people get to the point where they forget how important it is to be able to just ask a person a question.
Yeah. That's so true. And Eric, just to add to your point, you being an educator as myself too, and you know, like with algebra, you're not going to skip from A to D. You got to go from A to B, C, D. And it's the same thing, the layering. You got to learn that one step to go to the next step because it's so intricate. There's so many things involved that, yeah, you have to take it step by step. I mean, not all of us are like mega mind, like Gloria, that she can boom, but she's a medical doctor. But for the average person, they have to really force themselves. And I'm telling myself the research, being at the panels, I can't stress that enough. If you go to the conference, you know, I know New Orleans is a party city, not to mention it's music and food, because you're always giving us the best advice on where to go, and that's a whole other topic. The food is phenomenal, but you got to take it serious. You got to be at those early morning panels. You know, you got to be there meeting people, like you said, asking questions. That is
exactly
essential. Yeah. And
you know, I used to have a exercise that I would give my students. I would tell them, you know, go to the conference, meet 3 people, and come back with one idea that you've heard that you think might advance your career. Meet 3 people and one idea. Any conference is worthwhile if you apply that kind of stuff. You have to meet people, right? And you meet people by having questions, right? You know, you see guys like the Brayback Brothers, we have the guy who is the president of Empire Music Publishing.
Yes, yeah, I met him.
Right?
Yeah.
Find something about that you need to ask the question. Don't ask any personal questions of the guy. No. Ask him something that's going to engage him. It's a professional conference. Yeah. And in the root of it all, Cutting Edge is a professional conference. It's either building skills or it's expanding somebody's skills. So if you got a publisher of a major music organization, and Empire is a major music organization, do a little research, see what they're doing, see what it is, have a question, or the Eric technique is buy him a drink at the bar.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, and Eric, let me add to this because I thought this. I wrote it in my notes because I try to prepare as best as I can. And this is the other thing: you have to be there in person. People, and I'm noticing this. You as a professor and me as a teacher have seen in the past, relying on this technology. Everybody's guru now is Chat GPT. Now you can use that as a tool, right? But you need to go and, like you said, yourself and be there and meet these individuals, meet these people who can really make a difference. You have to hear the information from there. If you want to cross-reference later, you can do those things.
Well,
but
I'm a technology type person, but I understand that what the fearfulness, the trap of technology is that one of the things that happens to people who are talented in the arts is that they have a sense of isolation. So your art tends to make you isolated. So and if you work with artists, you will adapt this kind of attitude because you adapt the attitude. It's like if you are around artists who speak a certain way, you will eventually adapt a few of their phrases, right? So what happens is you will become isolated from a key element in the industry and in business in general, the art of meeting people. And you could unknowingly increase your fear of meeting people.
Run out of minutes.
Yep.
Right. I had a buddy who a guy who was older than me who we would go to events, right? And it was always he was a specialist and he had worked for the UN and he was a specialist. So we would always go to the consulate when they had visiting dignitaries and all that type of stuff. And he used to tell me, man, do not walk to the middle of the room. Nobody is walking to the middle of the room to meet you. You are not the star. If you're going to walk in, you either pick a direction.
Yeah.
You either start moving from the left or you start moving from the right. But as you walk through, take time to meet the people, earnestly shake their hands, look them in the eye. Don't shake their hands looking past them for a more important hand to shake.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to meet a person who does that.
Yeah.
So the art of meeting people in the music industry is what Cutting Edge really is organized to do.
Yes.
And Eric, I'll add to this, but because you know all about research. Before even heading to the conference or any conference at that, you should research who's going to be there. Research who they are.
Absolutely.
Kind of already gauge of who you want to meet. And look, and you might run into somebody you might not even suspect that could change things for you. So you have to keep that open mind. But the more research you do, going, oh, this so-and-so is going to be on this panel. Oh, the guy from Empire, Publishing is going to be, things like that. The more proactive you are, the better. And look, I've learned this the hard way. I'm not here like all of a sudden, but I'm telling everyone out there, this is a key point or points that you've been making, Eric and Tracy and myself. And if you want to, the music business is hard enough. So you have to do everything you can in your power to try to better your chances. So, and these are all the tools that people really should adhere to try to really push their art. And Eric, you made a great point. It's not only artists like myself. It's anyone who wants to be a music a manager, producer, publishing, or somebody who wants to be an entertainment attorney. There's just and film too. I mean, and we can talk about this for an hour, but even our old dear friend John Tovar, who people know he was my manager and dear friend. He was Marilyn Manson's manager, Nuclear Valdez, the Mavericks, right? It's quite a few other people. But yeah, Eric,
John had the resume now.
He had a resume. But remember John, and we would tell him, even though he was there, you have to keep up with the industry.
Oh yeah,
because it's constantly changing. And John, I'll tell you something, Tracy. Eric's got some stories about John Tovar and myself for another. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole. You want to talk about a personality, and somebody who really spoke his mind. I mean, you couldn't be faint of heart or you know, or an artist who was going to be represented by him. You had to have like
You had to
tough
take
skin.
it. You had to have the
Well, let's
cojones.
say we had some of our memorable cutting edge panel experiences with John.
Sure did.
I love that.
I mean, the thing about Tovar that I really like, and just to touch on Tovar, was
And I am being
that a
asked
lot
who
of
is
times people-
Tovar.
Mhm.
Just to let y'all know, I'm not trying to interrupt, but remember out here, the live audience, so like, who is Tovar?
John Tovar was a manager in South Florida. He basically like a manager, and he was very much like what real managers would do. John Tovar, if he took you on, first of all, he's going to make certain that if you got some music that's worthwhile, you recognize it and you perform your music. He's also was the guy who was going to be at every one of your performances, like good managers do.
Yeah.
And he would take you in the studio. And he has no problem telling people, because he's called me from like this time of night or later, he's called me from studios, and he's simply hollering at people that no, we don't want that song. Look, I don't care what he's saying, we're not going to do that song. Right. And look, and bellowing that type of stuff.
And you said it kind of nicely. That's not how how John would really say it.
Right. So what he was a guy with infinite amount of experience, bringing a major artist like Marilyn Manson, the Mavericks, and Nuclear Valdez, meant that he had negotiated and had been in the boardroom negotiating with major record labels.
Yeah.
And a guy told me once, some time ago, always pay attention to the people who've been to the big show. John Tovar had been to the big show.
Yeah.
And as a result, he never brought us bad artists. He had an ear for good artists.
Yeah, he sure did, Eric. And John, I'll tell you, so you should have seen John's music collection. John had, well, he sold his LPs and all. He had like thousands of albums, but the CDs. When I helped him move once, we had to, like, it was just boxes. I mean, he was like a musicologist, John. Yeah,
he was.
So he knew his stuff. But this is the point I was trying to make earlier, and this was with Gloria, because Gloria was trying to help John. You were all trying to, and just to try to keep up with the times, because. And that's why I emphasize you got to keep up with what's new to the business, whether you're in management, as an artist, as a producer, because you can't be left behind nowadays. And again, it's especially as you guys know with the technology. But yeah, John is very dear to us, and he'll always be cherished and remembered. So
and that brings up another aspect of the industry: health.
Yeah.
Health is a very, very key aspect to everybody's life, particularly people in the industry.
Yeah.
We work late hours. We're in clubs. We're around people who smoke. We're around a lot of booze. Mm-hmm. We are definitely in danger of ear issues. Mm-hmm. We suffer from sleep deprivation, and we tend to have terrible diets. So health. Not to mention, one of the things that we used to do years ago from a guy that used to teach at North Texas State, I think he's up in Johns Hopkins now, stage fright.
Yeah.
Stage fright and the whole aspect of all of this anxiety that comes along with being an artist and all of this, all of which that the music industry has a dark history of exploiting.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right.
That's for sure.
So these are all part of what, the responsibility of somebody who uses who puts on an event like a Cutting Edge, or who's have a radio show, or things of that nature, being able to attend to people better angels.
Yeah.
Is a big part of what your responsibility is. I never take the responsibility of cutting edge and putting all of this and getting people to come together and things of that nature. I decided years ago, sitting around me and Vernon, we decided that, particularly after Katrina, because after Katrina, which is also one of the cool things about John Tovar. John Tovar was one of the first people who called after Katrina to come to Cutting Edge. Yeah. And that's how he really got in. That's how he really got in Cutting Edge. He was one of the first industry people who called that had not been to Cutting Edge. But one of the things that we learned that years ago was it is better to have is a effective boutique conference.
Yes.
That has depth to it than to have these big old sprawling conferences that has no depth, has no soul, has no character to it. So we started restructuring Cutting Edge after Katrina from being that type of big event, because it was probably 3 or 4 times bigger before Katrina. We just said no.
Yeah. Well, and adding to that, Eric, and that's why it behooves artists or any else, because you get to meet these people face to face. And a lot of these other conferences, you don't get that opportunity. So you got to make as much, you got to make the best of what you have there when you're there, because again, like you said, it's a boutique kind of conference, which is really, it's nothing but pros. And that's imperative. Yeah. I definitely agree with that.
You got to curate these type of things. Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, so if you're going to meet someone and you're networking and you're in the entertainment industry, as far as we're talking music right now, I get asked a lot of this. Should you immediately walk up and hand music? Should you immediately give your phone number? Should you immediately go to their social media? What is the professional way to follow up? And Mr. Henry Turner Jr., I see you. I put your words up here. I have
a question when people ask me that kind of thing. My thing is, when you walking around the conference, what do you have in your hand? You might have a purse. You don't have no big strapping bag and things like that. Because frankly, I got rid of tote bags at the conference. Mm-hmm. I got rid of tote bags. I got rid of all that kind of stuff that I just thought was peripheral stuff that just caused us to have to clean up afterwards. I'm like, no. So do not walk up to people and do that, because you're taking their agency away from them. If they really are interested in you, develop something that might be a reason for them to want to look a little bit farther, right? A business card is about as much one of these that has some extra stuff, but no, not giving immediately starting to bombard them with your anxiety, your ADHD. Hey, my thing, really,
what, Eric, it's like in anything else in life that you should utilize decorum.
Yes.
Utilize common sense and decorum, how to approach someone, not, and not come on too strong, not come on too light, and know what you're talking about when you're approaching this particular person. That's why I say, yeah, exactly.
Listen.
Well, listen, absorb, and really process the information. But Eric, real quick, what you said right before about how the music or the entertainment business exploited people's weaknesses and health. I can't stress enough as an artist and all that, how you really have to take care of your health, especially if you're touring, performing. And when you start complicating things, you're already not eating too great, like you mentioned. You're stressed. Your sleep deprivation. You start throwing in those other, like, not only libations, but all the other little pills and things like that. All that's going to do is it's going to take away from you, from your art, what you need to accomplish. It's a business too.
And when you're at these events and you are performing, right? Just simply ask them to come to your performance.
Yeah.
Just simply ask them if they are interested. If you tweak their interest, they're there. Come to the performance. That's why now that we have the material that is really close. I mean, the venues that are fairly close. It's easy to get the conference people to walk a block over, 2 blocks over. These are just the things that you just have to map out what is going to be your strategy.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
And and as you know, Ralph and Henry knows, sometimes it takes coming to these events over and over so that you can get the lay of the land and you will know exactly how to make these things work. Bailing on things is one of the problems in the industry that people do too much, and in life. They one of those. They are obsessed with the one-off. Oh, I did that. It's over with.
Yeah.
I went over there. I didn't. They didn't. Nobody recognized me. Nobody talked to me. Did you? I mean, really, the nobody talked to me is like, what are you, 15 or something?
Yeah, junior high.
Eric, it takes. And people have to, like, that's a great point you made. You just can't go to just the one conference and think like, voila, I got it made. No. This is, I mean, Eric, I've been going 15 years now since with Tovar. I've been coming, and finally when we brought in Gloria, it really accelerated. It was a process of meeting people, learning. It doesn't happen overnight, And also, go ahead, Eric. What were you gonna say?
No, I was trying to remember the first group.
Oh, that I was with?
Yes.
Oh God, which it
was called
the Crude Brood. That's
Crude
it.
Brood. Oh man, I think I got a T-shirt in there.
You still got the Crude. Yeah, we were like that, just like a kind of a crazy rock punk band. Tovar is like, remember he would say, Ralph, the only thing good about that is you. The rest is, and I'm not gonna use the words he would.
Yeah,
but when
all of that.
But then when Tovar heard the stuff that I had prior when I was signed, it's like, I mean, I'll just give you a quick story. I think you may know this, Eric, but Trace doesn't know. He goes, he calls me up and I say, hey John, how you doing? And he goes, Ralph, let me ask you something. Are you stupid? I'm like, John, what are you talking about? Are you a moron? Are you? And he would use other words. Are you stupid? I was like, John, what's going on? He said, I just heard what you did. Okay, with the band before you were signed and Royce and all that. What are you doing playing with? What is wrong with you? We have to talk. And that's how everything's rolling.
He was a believer. He was a believer that he was going to drag you out of your shell. He thought that you was in your shell too much.
Yeah. Look, again,
but I'm looking at what Henry Turner wrote down, and
he's been all in here.
Right, it is very true that, and you got to embed yourself if you get a chance in these events, right? I mean, I love the fact that you guys have embedded because it allows me the opportunity to go and concentrate on getting more and better speakers and improving both the function, but the topics, and really get into that part because you guys are the musicians. So you, Henry, some of the other folks who come over, Jesse, Barry stuff folks, the guys like Jeff Rubin, all these different guys who come all the time, right? And people are like, well, they always come, they must not, what are they giving more than they get? Well, no. What you're doing is you're creating community. And there's one of the panels that is a panel that I have been seeking as to how to make it work. And this is the first time, and it's not the last time. It's called Found Audience. How do you develop super fans? And the move from turning a person from being just a casual listener to, what is it? Guitar, boots, and whatever.
Oh, BSG.
Yes.
Boots, stars, guitars.
Boots, stars, and guitars to becoming a fanatical listener.
Yes. I got a few over here.
How do people become fanatical? I mean, a real fan and supporter of Tracy LaPorte. How do you move people to that? Right? And it requires not social media. It requires value. people attach to things that they value. So, found audience is about, Bandcamp and Peloton and all of these different ways, subtracks that people are able to show their support at the same time, developing a real relationship in a way, because 1,000 real super fans is can make an artist's career. Particularly, the faster you get to that, the better.
That's true.
Most definitely. I have a few questions here.
Okay.
And these are quick questions. So we're going to do these. We're going to fire rapid round here with BSG, as you kindly brought it up a moment ago. Boots Stars Guitars right now with Ralph Miguel, myself, Tracy Two-Step, Eric Cager with Cutting Edge Conferences, which is coming up, the 34th year here. We're going to ask you a few questions here. What is it a great song or great marketing? Go.
It always starts with the song.
Okay. Talent or work ethic?
Work ethic.
Yes. A major label or independent?
Anybody you can get.
I like this one. Streaming numbers or a live audience? Both.
Both. We're right. Right.
Yeah.
That's right. You don't want to split from that. You want them both.
Yeah, and then social media followers or real fans, and I feel strongly on this one.
What's
real
that
fans? It's social media. Focus on social media or real fans.
Oh, real fans.
Thank you. Love it.
Social media, social media is like his own. It's like the snake that ate his own tail.
Yep. What is something that the artists spend too much money on? And then also something that is the advice you wish every artist could hear.
What artists spend too much money on? Websites. Essential, yes, but they spend too much money on them.
Yes, they do.
Because it's an essential thing to have. Now, websites are essential, but when you start having people talking, they spend $5,000 on a website, you're like, seriously?
Hey, there's my button. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I agree with every bit of that you said. Here's a shout out to NWP out there with Sony in the Orchard, actually one of my partners. They agree. So they rarely jump in here and get in the middle, but shout out to NWP out there and Sony in the Orchard.
Did they come last year?
I'm sorry. I brought one last year, half of them. There's three. Mitch Dudley. Mitch Dudley is the senior director. I better be careful here, but he's at Sony, and then I have Swain, and you met Lipe, but Swain, Lipe, and then Mitch Dudley up here. That is what was transpiring last year. So there's an example for everybody. I show up at Cutting Edge. I casually invite someone. I said, I think you should come to this. Just based on interviewing them and having talks. I love to write. I write all the time. I was talking about, all right, someone else can sing it. They came, we started talking, and they took my music and they went back to Sony, and they were like, wait a minute. So they were able to actually do a deal based on using me as their in-house writing individual. And it turned into this whole deal is what I'm trying to say. So you never know when you're going to be somewhere. You're going to strike up a relationship. You're going to have a few words, and you'll know immediately if it's something that you think is going to fit for you or not. At least for me, well, there's a couple times I'll admit it that I should have got it a little bit quicker, but 9 times out of 10. So by going to Cutting Edge and them going back to their people, they were like, there's a whole lot going on out there that we just realized, everything came up. Cutting Edge last year, everything was talked about, and I enjoyed that. Nobody was afraid to say the words AI. I mean, right. I had to follow her outside. Is that Michelle that was speaking on that?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
I followed her. It's the only person that I followed, and I shouldn't say it like that. I walked out of the room casually, let her finish talking, and I said, "Ma'am, I just want to shake your hand." And she said, "What for?" And I said, "Because everybody else and their brother is afraid to say those two letters." And I said, "The fact that you just got up there and did that, I love who you are. I love that you just got right up there and told it like it is." And so she left an impression on me big time. So
Oh yeah.
they should all be there. That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Well, we would love a lot of folks to come down and stuff, but in the final analysis, what we have learned is that we curate everything. We don't just curate whether or not the speakers and what their capabilities are, and what the sessions are based on the speakers. We also curate the artist based on the fact that we think we could do something to help their careers. That is part of it. And we seek to, as the curating agency, to and we can't make you sign deals. We
No.
can put you in the path of people who you might want to talk to. They are in the room. You're in the room with them. And for everybody else, we don't have any preconceived ideas of somebody should get it and somebody shouldn't. I don't want to know about any deals. I don't want to know about the money. We don't get a percentage. We're not interested in that type of thing. I learned a long time ago, our role here is simply to produce the event. The event has said we have stated what the event is about, and to deliver that. It's like your shows. I pay attention to your shows. You say what your shows are about, and that's what you go about delivering.
You have to say it like you mean it and follow through with every bit of it and
Right.
just shoot it
Exactly.
straight.
You
Shoot
know,
it straight. There's really
right.
no
Hey,
reason to do
exactly.
anything else. I mean, it's right there.
Right.
Authenticity. So authenticity is a big part of this. So you mentioned listening. One of my business partners is Gloria, by the way. Just the paperwork alone, uh, Ralph can attest to this. The business paperwork that we have done in conjunction together as partners. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it is a lot there that you don't want to miss. You want to pay attention to your publishing. You want to pay attention, especially if you're trying to do sync. You want to pay attention to who you're working with, what you're signing, what you shouldn't be signing. And I actually agree with you on the website part. I actually have something going off on the side right now that I'm going to call them and say, I told you I was right. So I do believe in that. I do believe in thousands of dollars on a website is just wasted money. And that's my personal opinion. I don't.
Yeah. They usually target momengers.
Yes.
That's the target.
There could be a whole show on that one.
Right. Yeah.
A&E.
Folks who are so earnestly want to support their children, they will spend any godly amount of money to make certain that their forward facing look is this pristine thing, and it works on a certain level, and it really just doesn't.
Most definitely. And with everybody out there watching, you want to listen to information or not. That's something for you to decide. Right. And if you're serious about your music, get serious and learn the business. You got to learn the business. You got to meet the people. You've got to ask questions, build real relationships, and be ready when you get in that room. Be ready for it, because now that you're building this, now what are you going to do? So it's a step process, and it's just as if I were to go meet Ralph, for instance. I'm not going to jump up and bombard Ralph and I want to talk to you. I want to do this. I want to do that. I think I probably stayed away, didn't I, Ralph? I just kind of hung back.
No, this is right. This isn't speed dating. We're not running people in front of people just because they're in the room. This is not that.
No, it's completely opposite.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, completely opposite. I'm making sure people.
And to add to that, if you were going to make a proposal to someone to invest in a process, invest in an idea or anything like that, you're going to find out as much about the people on the other side of the table as possible.
Yeah.
And you're also going to find out why would they be interested? A lot of times, one of my big peeves with folks as to, because, when I'm consulting with folks, is take them a moment to envision what the person on the other side of the table is really thinking about when they're looking at you and when they're listening to what you got to say. And just think about it, right? You have some of these guys and stuff, the hipsters and all the different ones, they have a few dollars and they throw out these terms that sounds good when you're at the party or the cocktail party or around somewhere and at the restaurant with your friends and them, and you all are throwing out kind of cliches type of flipping type terms about business and things of that. And now you're sitting in a meeting with some folks that you really want to kind of, if you're there, you should really want to be able to do it. And they're sitting there, and instinctively you have slipped into a pattern of talking that only works inside your own little friend circle,
in your own little circle,
in your little group.
Yep.
And those people are sitting there saying, yeah, well, do we really want to deal with this? Is there any value to this?
Yeah.
Right. And if it becomes an issue of, well, which one of these different ones, hey, why would they pick you?
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're doing them a favor, what's going to stop you from one day deciding, I don't want to do you a favor anymore? So why should I do business with somebody who arbitrarily is sending me signals that say, at a moment's notice, I'll get up and walk away from this deal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
bravo. And you know what, Eric, and believe it or not, one of the most important things was said at the beginning of the interview in the show. Tracy had asked you if you love what you do, and you said yes. So you have to love what you're doing as an artist or in the music business. You have to have that passion because, as you well know, Eric, and Tracy knows, a lot of sweat equity goes into this. A lot of sweat equity. I learned that from Gloria. I see, what she's done, and like it just, tedious as you do, Eric, and us, being in the band, organizing everything. It's a lot of work. So there has to be a love of what you're doing. Because it'll make that sweat equity a little easier, and you have to, in consistency.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we are saying true to you, HTJ. True. Henry Turner Jr. We're going to have to get you on this show too. It would be very, very interesting. We're telling you. Yeah, we're showing all of your comments. And then I've got live a lot of information over here. So
can I ask a couple of questions?
You should, yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
How many different shows do you operate?
If you had asked me this yesterday, it would have been a different answer. Right now, I'm sticking to 3. Right now. I will be dedicated to 100% to 2. The third one is I am rethinking because of the changes. I don't like saying this. It's like having a pickup truck. If I say I'm good at technology, everybody's going to call me to come do their technology. But I'm watching the things that are going on, and technology-wise, I'm watching and going, okay, wait a minute. I can actually get further, less time. Time is a major important part of this, everybody. It's not just about the dollar. Yourself and your time is important.
Absolutely.
Life is so short. Your time, everybody forgets about their own time. So, Eric, you just asked me that. And I am going to be turning over one of those shows to Complete Radio, Complete Podcast. and helping them ramp up their indie artists. They do not have enough. So I'm going to be dropping the third show, and I'm going to be building up with radio stations and trying to support more indie artists, which pushes me back into radio, but I'm not going to give up the broadcast. I will not give up the media company that I'm with. I'm just going to help out some radio stations so I can help indie artists get more airtime. So I'm going to say two.
In 18 months, where do you see all of this?
I see me actually running my own marketing and PR. I'm already doing that. I see me throwing at least 2 festivals. I see 8 songs coming out through the label. I see one of the shows being able to be picked up by a major network. I think I go big. It's go big or go home. I mean, my time again. I go back to that. My time. So this show you're on right now, BSG. We're still here, everybody. It's Boots, Stars, Guitars right now with Ralph Miguel, Tracy Two-Step, and Eric Cager talking about cutting edge. And I just got the table flipped to me, asking where do I see myself. I'll have the 2 main shows, but then putting on more community activity festivals, taking care of the youth. We need more music in our community. So I see me involved hands-on in the community where I was and giving up one of those shows because I need to do more for the community. There's just not enough that's done. So getting back out there in our nonprofit with music. You mentioned something earlier, Eric, that caught me. And it is because I came from that world, and it's nobody ever asks. It's interesting what you've done before. You just meet and it's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. The music commission offices. So Gloria and I have talked about this, and I told her this. I said, Gloria, I want you to go look up the Austin, Texas music and film commission offices and watch how we do things. So that is where I come from. I come from Austin Film Society, but I had my art.
You were down there with Don Pitts and
I'm right here with them. And then you've got the music commission offices. I'm going to be back working closer with them. And the Chronicle is here. And I was a competitor. I was with the Metropolitan, and I would go do real reviews where I got a real check, not on here on Yelp or anything on technology. I actually got paid to go interview bands that would have been signed like Ralph. And then I was doing singing, and I had an unfortunate thing happen with cancer. I did kick his butt, but it left me without a gland and a nicked vocal cord. So I have to rely on a lot of other things that people don't know about. And it's like, well, not just jump on a stage, Trace. And I'm like, I'm meeting with doctors, but to be honest, my health and being able to talk to you, because I didn't talk for a long time, I realized life is so short that I don't think I need to put myself through more surgery or anything else that's too risky. I love to write. I see us being in the community. We've got to do more for each other and not just be in a studio. That is how I want to go out, and I'm going to go back into the commission offices and partner with them in communities. And that is where Gloria and I have just completed a task with them for grants. A lot of people don't understand that you can go to your music commission office. So here in Texas, if you were to do that, Ralph 100-meter scream, everybody listen to this tip. If you were to come into Texas and you did it right, they would pay you $200 per band. This is 100-meter scream. 5 people. You got 5 in your band there, Ralph?
It's 4.
Okay, 4. He's got 4. Each of those band members are going to get paid out of the commission office if you go and set this up correctly. So you need to get in touch and stay in touch with what's going on in your community with the music commission offices, film commission offices, your Better Business Bureau. But I came from there. And so I got pulled back to radio, TV, broadcasting, and podcasting. And I'll keep 2 of them, Eric, but one, I need to get back out into the community. So I am going to drop one, everyone. Just FYI, Eric got it out of me.
No. Yes, the Texas Music Commission has always been, to me, one of the more advanced, forward-leaning artists, leaning music commissions.
Yes.
I mean, you people might not know that about Texas, but like the Texas, what is this? The Texas Music Roster,
Yes.
and all of those networking things. That was, what was his name? Was it? God, I forget his name.
Not Anton.
No, not Anton. But he used to run the Texas Music Commission for years.
I have to go back to the notes.
I forget his name. I was going to say Tracy something, but
I was there. I was there when Governor Perry. So
Yeah.
waiting. I'm only 29, but from the time that Governor Perry stepped in, and he started a lot of that actually. A lot of
yeah,
people don't know that.
no,
All the
And-
way through to this recently. So that is where it came from.
yeah, and those type of agencies are extremely important, particularly for as that bridge.
Yes.
That bridge. People ask me how to start things, right? And how do you begin, right? My thing is take whatever idea that you have and think about how to do it with no money, but still do it.
Yeah. It's the doing it part. Even if you get it wrong, or
Even if you get it wrong,
even
but,
if you get
but,
it wrong,
do not concentrate on if I had this much money, I can do
That's true.
this. There are people every day who does festivals, who go out and put together a festival event. Maybe they have to go and talk to the churches. Maybe they have to go and talk to the city council person. Maybe they have to go and talk to and appeal to people's better angels and let them do it. But in the final analysis, in the end, there's a crowd of people standing in front of a stage, might not be the biggest and best stage, and they are having a good time. They are playing music, and now you have learned how to facilitate something from nothing.
yes,
Right?
most definitely.
I always tell people that, and it sounds cheesy and it sounds whatever, and it's meant to sound cheesy, to be really honest with you. I call it the NOOPY deal, the no out of pocket expense. When you can facilitate whatever it is you want to do, your grants and everything become better because you can basically tell people, "Oh, I did that."
Yeah.
And I might have went around and confidence everybody I know, every club owner, everybody, and convinced them, "Hey, look, this is just something that should do." And you'd be surprised if you're nice enough and honest enough with people about what you're just trying to do,
Yes.
they will give you a shot to do it. Everybody is not playing the F off kind of game. They're
Right.
not playing that. Some people are honestly like, well, since you just, okay, why not?
Right. Right.
And
And that's what
might-
I'm
might
used to that.
be on a Tuesday night, right? It's nobody. Well,
Hey, I
however-
can tell you that in Austin there, Eric, there are specific days that you should, if you're looking to really do business and go somewhere, I'm not going to tell everybody, but there's specific days, listen to me, that big decision makers avoid going out in their area because they will get bombarded. So being on the inside of all that, your music commission offices and what's going on in your town is
Right.
pretty important. And that is what I used to do. So that is why I'm dropping one show, because I'm going to get back into all of that. There's a lot that goes on when it comes to the music scene. We're going to get 100 Meter Scream. They represent our nonprofit. We have a nonprofit that supports musicians too. So it's there for many.
And let me give a shout out to my friend Gloria Garcia,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you combining your efforts with Gloria was the smartest move both of you made.
Amen.
Because you have a facilitator and a person who understands how systems work, how the paperwork works, and willing to spend the amount of time to understand how they work, therefore allowing you more time to function on going out there and doing all of these things, so that 18 months you have facilitated of the lion's share of what your ideas are.
Yep, most definitely.
And that is what you want out of a partner.
That is exactly what you want.
It's working well.
Ralph might have something to say. I know he does. Ralph remembers us meeting, and he was the one. You can tell the story.
Yes.
Real quick, NWP, I see you. Your ideas are the basis, but understand that success equates to the opportunity you create. Thank you for that. I do see it. And Henry Turner Jr., you build it, they will come. Ralph, go forward, and you can talk with Mr. Eric. So, I know what you want to say.
I was introduced to Tracy, and we were talking, and we spoke on the phone for almost like 2 hours. Tracy's also a plethora of information, especially in the tech side. And I'm trying to get up to par with the tech side of things, but I'm still a work in progress. But Tracy was like, we're talking and all that, but she had just all this knowledge, especially in the tech. No, you got to do this with this and that. And it was just, Eric was going over me. I'm like, oh my God. I was already seeing having a vision into the future or something. I said, you have to meet our manager and our dear friend, Gloria Garcia. I told her she's a medical doctor, and she's, really, but she's really and she's, oh yeah, I'd love to meet her. And I said, you guys will be a perfect match. You match each other's energies. Okay. It just also all the commonalities that they have, that they share with the tech and everything. And I kind of knew instinctively that they were going to hit it off, and it's exactly what happened. It just became something in unison, just like that immediately. Right. And look, I think, I think a couple of years later, a few years later, look, we had the Sargent Two-Step Foundation, working on so many different things. And it's, so, and Eric, believe it, the genesis goes back to John and you, man. So I'll never forget that time you said, hey, Ralph, you definitely got to come to this, to the conference. Because one year it's like some years back where some things were in the way. So there's some people I want to introduce you to, and to Gloria. And I said, okay. And Lord and behold, we met Michelle Maslin. And she's the one that really took Gloria under her wing. Gloria just learned everything. And that's just and also I see my good dear friend Danny Jones here.
Yes,
who I got to meet at the Cutting Edge, and world-renowned producer. He produced the song Crazy for us, and we have other things in the works. So I just can't say enough good things, Eric, of what you've done for Cutting Edge and all the musicians, and for the city of New Orleans and everything. You really are a treasure of the city. I'm not saying that just to make you feel better, Eric. You know how it is. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've experienced it, and I can't stress that enough. And of course, Mr. Henry Turner Jr., who every time I see him and I'm performing, I get all conscious because oh my God, he's watching me play guitar. No, look the other way. We've met such great people at the conference, but you see, Eric, look how it all connected. Like you said, layering. Like you said earlier, how it all layers, right?
That's right.
This was part of the layering process that you were mentioning.
Yes.
These are all the details people have to try to listen to. You know,
that's exactly
and that's how we've gotten here, with a lot of work and sweat equity. But you end up meeting the right people, and you surround yourself with the right people. That's also very important.
Right.
Shout out to Synapse out there, Synapse Publishing.
Those are just, there's a lot of different places you can find yourself that can help you, right? Cutting Edge is just one of them. You can find yourself in your city. You don't have to come here, right? But there are methodologies as to how to work through things, how to assess something for what the benefit that you're going to be able to get and move on to the next place. if you're spending enough time to find yourself there, then you really should spend some time to get the best out of it. Because, you know, wasting time on particular professional development is something that is the old saying, you can't get back, but it really becomes detrimental because it becomes a habit. The habit of wasting your time, the habit of not seeing a value, the habit of being rather arrogant enough to think that, oh, there wasn't nothing that they could say, nothing that they told me that I didn't already know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And adding to that, Eric, it's also knowing and understanding when, you know what, this just isn't working. Doesn't have to be anything bad, but it's, you know what, this just doesn't work.
Right.
This just isn't what feels like I need to be doing at this time. So maybe you do your thing, I'll do mine. You should never lock yourself into something. Listen, when I say life's short, it's short. Don't lock yourself into something where you're also in, it's like being married, right? If you want to be married forever to a individual, you're signing deals, you're signing contracts. Make sure you want to be around these individuals for a very long time. So pay attention to how you want yourself to be treated and how you treat others. And that's
Tracy,
big.
well, I was going to say to your point right here, and to Eric, and you know, for anybody who's in the business, it's very easy to get discouraged, you know, and then that discouragement leads to like apathy, and then a lot of people drop out because you got to keep pushing. And going back to our old dear friend John Tovar, I'll never forget this, and I'm sure he said this to you, Eric, on some other occasion, but he says, you know, Ralphie, you call me Ralphie, in this business, only the strong shall survive. And I always remember that only the strong. And that's true. And I've always remember that, you know, you got to keep going. He would tell me the stories about Sony when he would with Manson dealing, and you know what I learned at Sony, Ralphie. I said, what was it, John? It's what they would tell you: hurry up and wait. He'd get to Sony in New York, and even John, he would be waiting the longest time. You can't get discouraged, you know. And everything that you were saying, and Tracy, I can't stress enough that that's what people should really be absorbing and utilizing and just keep pushing. I mean, I never gave up, John. With John, John never gave up on me. Excuse me, that's what I say. And other people never gave up on me because, you know, you become discouraged, especially when I was at a certain point before, and you kind of fall from that grace, and then you're working your way up. That's not easy, but that's why I stress surrounding yourself with the right people and good people. And Henry, thank you for the shout out. That I'm not as great as you, but thank you.
He says that he loves to watch you play.
Yeah, so well, that's a compliment from Mr. Baton Rouge. So that's what I have to say, and I know I keep just saying it over and over. I can't stress enough. If people, again, if you really are serious in having a career in the music business or in the entertainment industry, and like you said, Eric, you can go to others, and there's other, but man, I can only attest to my experience with cutting and where it's gotten me and everybody else to this point. And it's still a work in process. The hard work never ends, people. It never, and the sweat equity never ends. You got to keep pushing. But you know what?
You got to join the conversation of the industry.
Yeah.
You have to join the conversation.
Exactly.
However way you get involved in the conversation, be it production assistance, film producing, however way you get involved in all this, but you got to join the conversation. You cannot just be a person who is kibbutzing on the edges. I mean, you can be, because we know there's a ton of this type of stuff. But, you know, what you really want to do is move towards being able to be inside the conversation to the point where, in reality, you develop a sense of how things really work and an opinion about it that is not what they call pedestrian. I mean, you can, you know, if I have another person tell me AI is slop, I'm like, what? I'm thinking that AI promulgated that because it's such a trite little statement. Nobody's ever going to take it serious. What is AI slop? What does that mean when we all know that all over the industry, all over the world, people are using this stuff inside of the industry, and though you think it's slop, it is still infiltrating on all different levels. Join the conversation and analyze exactly what it is, what's the value, and how you can either benefit from it, avoid it, or whatever. But just using a cliche term is about as juvenile to me as anything else that you can hear. Right? I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
So that I actually want to pull up something really quick here. And one of the reasons is because he's enjoying being here in the show. So right here, you'll see this. That is HTTV. So HTTV, Henry Turner Jr., who's over here in the comments, everybody. So we do have some work going on with HTTV to check that out. You can just go to henryturnerjr.com. He has multiple websites, everybody. I'm not kidding. You can go and check that out. I actually wanted to bring out the Cutting Edge 34th annual conference that is coming up here, and let you see just there that Eric has right there. He's right on the cusp of it, so I know that he's in the thick of it right now. So I want to make sure you can all see that. You just go to Cutting Edge NOLA, NOLA.com, cuttingedgenola.com, and check that out. Now, I was sent, actually, do you remember this one, Eric? I think that I don't.
Yes.
Maybe we met for 5 minutes or something, but I just walked over and said, "Hey, let's just take it. We're in this beautiful. Well, this is another story, but beautiful place, theater. He brought us to this beautiful location. We got to hear Danny Jones speak, and I was like, my goodness, the vibes in this room and everything else. It was just amazing, Eric. And then you sent me this picture.
Oh yes.
It says Ralph Murphy, and I think it says Sam Bell.
Not Sam. That's who is that, Henry? Oh my God. That's William Bell. That's William.
Oh, it's William. Okay.
Right. Tax Records. And that was a great panel. They hit it off. Ralph used to come every year before Michelle was the songwriter in residence.
Yeah.
It was Ralph Murphy.
Oh, wow.
And Ralph used to come. Ralph came every year for 10, 15 years too, until really he was scheduled to come when he passed. But Ralph had great stories and recommendations, right? Ralph used to love to say, look, don't listen to a crowd about your song that you're singing at 12 o'clock in some bar, right, or some club. Everybody in there is drunk. They either not even gonna remember your song or they will clap for anything. Yeah. So that is not your proving ground as to whether or not you have a good song.
No, that's called a good time.
But you have people like Ralph and Michelle. They are experienced. They are road tested and they are involved in the industry.
I like that. And then you have these two here.
Oh yes, Jody Stevens.
Yeah.
Oh, Keith writes for the major publication. He used to write for Offbeat, and he's with the Time Picayune now. But and Jody Stevens, Jody wrote. He wrote and he produced. I forget exactly. I think he was writing out of maybe Shreveport. Oh, he's originally from Shreveport, but it passed my mind exactly who he produced. But we've had great panelists who, yes, that was William Bell.
Yeah.
Great panelists who we started with this idea because, when you first start out, people are like, man, I'm sorry, but I'm not coming to New Orleans based on the fact that you say you're trying to put this event together. So we came up with this theory that we'd rather have earnest C-level executives who are willing to pour everything they know out than an A-class person who is too arrogant to do nothing for anybody, right? The people who speak on a panel and then they disappear, right? Nobody's going to get to talk to them. Nobody's going to get to interact with them. But the C level, the B level executives are going to meet people. They're going to engage. They're going to tell you some secrets, right? Inside of the whole pension, which is also a sale and insurance type of thing I was trained in, they used to say a thing that people came in different values. They're either going to recommend you. Yes, with Arden Studios in Memphis.
Danny Jones is saying that Jody was with Arden in Memphis, and then he's a member of Big Star.
Right.
Okay.
I just couldn't remember. I knew he was with someone. I remember that year too that Arden came down. You either have people who are going to do two things. They're going to recommend you to only to people below them. They're either going to recommend you to only people below them on what they consider the total pool. They're going to have people who only recommend you to people on their same level. And then there are those seldom people who are going to see you as an asset and will recommend you to their boss.
Yep, that's it.
And when you get those type of people who are willing to turn to the executive or the person above them and say, I met this guy, I met these people, we should get to know them. You should talk with them. Those are people are golden. Yep. Those are people we look for during the conference, because they are going to see somebody and they're going to say, hey, look, maybe I can help you. Maybe I can introduce you over here. At least I can introduce you to my friend who's right here. And between the two of us, maybe we could get you up another level or get you this level. People who just want to introduce you down to, to the mail room. Well, you can find the mail room on your own. You don't need to be introduced to the mail room.
Yeah.
So these are just the things that you learn over the years of experience in different type of industries and going and traveling to different countries and just involving yourself with people and being the person that people don't mind talking to.
Yep.
Right. And that's what you have to be able to over the years just facilitate things. And as basically a cultural historian, I always remember one of my old professors told me about history. History favors the long arch. You got to always play for the long thing, for the long haul, because other than that, it doesn't really work out. You have no history over 2 years.
Yeah,
right? That's why people don't understand what's the nature of a weak resume. Oh, I worked someplace for 6 months. I worked over there for a year. I worked over there. Well, seriously, you got a whole resume of 6 months and 2 years, 35, 40 years old, and you've never worked anywhere longer than 2 years. Make up something, right?
Yeah.
But
expand on something.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't understand this question here, but we have a question here. It says Alan Jones to Danny, ? And then we've got Shirley Brown, and then the last name Barkays, and then Ardent Studios. He's asking Danny Jones, and now Danny's coming in and say Barkays producer ? So I'm in the middle of running a show in between trying to make sure we get our history
moderating a text conversation.
Yeah.
And that's why you are in the control position, because you have the multitasking bug gene.
Well, I'm always amazed how Tracy is able to juggle and wear all these different hats. Like she's got her 100-meter scream hat, then she's got the other hat, and she's juggling. I people do that, and just.
Well, we're speaking on history, so I want to make sure we put out the correct information. So what's happening is between Danny Jones and Henry Turner, they're getting it right. So now they're both confirming Danny's saying, yes, he did know Alan, and he recorded Shirley Brown. So I'm sure y'all know what that is, right? Everybody, come on.
Yes.
Shirley Brown. And then Henry says Jay Blackfoot.
Jay Blackfoot. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But Taxi? Is that Jay Blackfoot? Take me to the other side of town?
I believe
And the
so.
final answer is Mr. Turner. I don't have a Jeopardy button.
Wow.
As we're rolling here, literally live on this show here on BSG, he says yes, you are correct.
Yes.
Ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding.
That's that was always one of my favorite little songs.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you, Danny. That's what I wanted to make sure was the history of what I'm watching and following through here with Ardent Studios, that we've got all the names correct on who's who and what's what. So I thank you all for that. Cutting Edge is coming up. It is something that Eric is right in the thick of, literally. And I said literally tonight. It's hopefully the first time. I get teased a lot, Eric. They say that I say that word a lot on air. So trying to watch that. I do want to do a shout out as well to everybody that's in there listening. Again, do not forget about HTTV right there. Also, our radio stations, you cannot forget about them. 99.9 right there. It is Cutting Edge Radio. And no, it is not Eric.
I love it. I love it. I'm stealing that.
One Star Radio. There we have it. You got One Star Radio, but 99.9 Cutting Edge is now one of our partners and with our nonprofit, and they are the ones that we are going to build their indie side up. So I will be putting one of the shows down just for promoting more music, like on air. We need to get more music for indie artists on air, and I can do that easy without having to brush my hair and get, I can do it in my pajamas until 4 a.m. if they need me to. But
Tracy, you know what I liked about the show tonight too is not only having Eric, but now also Henry, interaction with Danny. Those are two also big heavy hitters in the music industry, along with Eric and all that knowledge that they have from all the past great artists and performers and all. I mean, the stories between all of them, it would take months to,
most definitely. I'm enjoying the fact that I'm over here and I get to see them all talking to each other and trying to get it all correct out there. So the ones that I selected were on purpose. We've pretty much brought up everything that was to the topic of what we're here for tonight, and that is with Eric right now. So Eric is with us, Eric Cager, again, director of Cutting Edge. It's a music conference. It's about the business of music and music in your community. You never know who you could be right beside at any point in time. You have no idea. So you never just go on by someone and have attitude, and I just say it like it is. But you always want to acknowledge. That's the tip I give. Just go about it like you would at anything else. Like, be genuine, be authentic. Say hello. If you don't have much time, you can still a way to say hello and, excuse me. But that's how I go about it. That's the only tip I have, is that this is no different than working in, there's a difference, but in business. So running a company, you do have a way in which you have to run a company and people that you would actually hire for that company. Absolutely. So, there is that philosophy. So looking at the business side of music is something that I actually do on accident. I did not want to get put back into this area. It accidentally happened because it was needed so bad. I witnessed it and I went, I cannot believe this. Why do we not have more indie artists playing on air? What is going on here? And because I swore I was never going back to radio, but I'm back, and I told Eric I'll keep 2, but I'm getting back in my community. That doesn't mean just where I live, but this means multiple areas out there in what we're doing. And now Danny is saying, Henry, you are wrong. That was Skip Godwin. So That's Danny Jones himself. So he's saying no. Look at it. There we go. Danny, did you record Trying to Love to with William Bell at C. Saint Studio in NOLA? So see, this is fun for me. Watch. No, that was
good. That's right.
And there's only one O, so maybe my southern accent cut it different. But I love this. And when Stax folded and recorded in NOLA, he told us a story at Cutting Edge. So Henry's trying to relay that when he was there at Cutting Edge, he told the story. And that's what happened when Stax. Now, Eric, who at Stax was a studio, or let's try to correct all of this over here.
Stax was a record label, but I believe it grew out of a studio.
That's what I'm thinking over here.
Right.
That's
there was a studio, and then I think some new people acquired it, and they created the Stax Records. And like all the rest of them, they had their own studio that was on hand. Motown and all of them had their own studio on hand, so that they and major record labels now, and a lot of them still have their studio where they know that they can facilitate facilitate making certain that the record gets recorded on time where they want it and things like that. And they in the writing room and everything was right there. William Bell he gave a great presentation on what happened at Stax, the records he wrote, why they were releasing the music that they were releasing. They were in competition with Motown.
Got it.
Now, when Motown moved to having duets like with Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, they went to having duets. So they were playing off of one another, because basically Stax was a southern version of Motown, and so these type of things went back and forth, and so which created great music, by the way. If you ever see the history of Stax or see some of the stuff that Stax did, the Junior Walker and the All Stars, the Booker T and the MGs, all those type of artists, they had two studios. See,
and I'm very familiar with Muscle Shoals. Now that's an iconic location right there. Fame. There's a lot that's been out of Muscle Shoals that I love doing the historic part of the music shows that I'll end up doing. Now, Muscle Shoals, a lot of people don't know their history when it comes out of there. There's a lot that's going on there. Yes, Danny, thank you very much.
Well, we do this thing called Roots Music Gathering, right? Mm-hmm. And the first two people we brought down to launch the Roots Music Gathering was Dan Penn and Spooner Moore. So we brought them down, and Dan Penn and Spooner Owen told us the whole story of working with Aretha and doing the whole thing at Muscle Shoals and all the different artists that came through dealing with them, and Larry Butler, and how that moved on to a whole group of things that really exists inside of the. It's such a daisy chain of things. The guy who is the keynote speaker and the president of Empire Publishing comes to us through an ongoing connection, starting back with Dan Penn and Spooner Oram, Larry Butler, Tom Levins, Scott Canale, who was Vinnie Kumar's, who is Vinnie Kumar's partner, who brought Vinnie Kumar to the conference when he was just an intern working for him and Paul Diaz at the recording studio, who has a recording studio where and Muscle Shoals.
Muscle Shoals, yeah.
All of this comes all the way back around. And so one thing I discovered a long time ago, there's a lot of different currents in almost every industry. Be a part of a current. Grab a hold of a current and let the current lead you to places that will help you and help other people. So, right. Think of, I mean, you obviously have a current, Tracy, and you have survived and floated and flourished and enhanced the current. So all of these different folks are part of the current, right? And
We have
so
a big mix in here.
and that's how the whole thing works.
It is. I like all of that. Usually don't like to point it towards me. It really takes all of us, even where I'm at right now versus even going to Cutting Edge last year. I mean, it came through good people. So meeting good people who, you know, it's just like anything else out there. You want to use common sense. Listen to your gut. That's coming from me. Like that short part, I'm very, very serious on. Everybody knows this part. And getting involved with the kids in your community. So what can we do to move forward and keep this history going? Number one, the history needs to keep going. And then number two, this is something I talk a lot with Henry about. I have an opportunity, Louisiana Hayride. Does anyone know what that is?
Yes.
You do. I knew Eric would. And I knew Henry would. So the Louisiana Hayride, there happens to be a family member who has a garage full of stuff. Songs written on brown paper bags, pictures, Johnny Cash, all sorts of things are in there, asking if I would take it all. And I said, I most definitely will. And I will getting back to you. I'll get back to them. But Henry knows about it. So, Eric, as I just tried to tell you, I'm dropping one show. I might pick up limited series where it will be historic information like the Louisiana Hayride and that story. So that is what I'm thinking there, Eric.
Well, Louisiana Hayride is both legendary and has a legitimate history inside of the music industry.
Oh yeah.
Everybody from Johnny Cash to Elvis to all of these guys did things through Louisiana Hayride.
There's so much out of Louisiana Hayride that one story really quick. You know, there was a lot of drinking going on, and you'd be driving all around, a tour all around, a bunch of them packed into a car. And I won't say all of who, but if you were at the Grand Ole Opry out in Nashville, I grew up in Nashville. So, and I'm talking the true original one with the alley, you know, the back alley by Tootsie's when it was truly the row, what I call the row, in music. And then you go into these other areas that we're talking about, these other locations, and Louisiana Hayride, if you weren't in one, you got kicked out because you either drank too much or you did something. They didn't want you to belong to the same one at the same time. Is that true or not, Eric?
I'm not certain. I don't know that story.
I want to research that part and find out. Now, I do have a couple of musicians who are saying, most definitely, we were not allowed. So,
but it sounds like the kind of control thing that was happening inside of record industry, basically cliques, and you didn't operate Louisiana Hayride or a Grand Ole Opry or Muscle Shoals or a Stax or a Motown without having your cliques, and they were not big into having people do these crossovers. They didn't want artists to cross over. They didn't want artists to play other people's, to re-record other people's music. They had all of these taboos about what they thought was bad for their position. Now, I don't know so much about the artist's career, but their position was, you know, they wanted it, yeah, we do have a lot of history with the Hayride, by the way, and that's a whole nother story because we did a lot with the Hayride.
Yeah,
we got oral histories on them, but that is, you know, that is just how things really was operating. People didn't want you They didn't want to spend time developing you as an artist or as a personality or even as an associated business, only to have a competitor comes in and then use you, you the lighting director for, for me up on Broadway on, I don't want you, even though I'm not going to be able to stop you, I'm not in favor of you now going and working with this other organization, and everything you've learned through my hard effort and my learning is now going to benefit these people over there. It took people a while to develop the sophistication in business to understand that that is not a bad thing.
Oh, most definitely.
You can't have people feeling like they can't move on and can't improve their position.
Well, you're hurting everyone. If someone says don't go on that station, you've got to go to where Tracy is. No,
exactly.
You got to go on every station that you can get on. That's how you do it. You don't get in a box.
So you begin hiring people who never want to go anywhere. Yeah. Never want to improve themselves. How long is it going to take before they start sloughing off on your job? Because they never, it's like a band member, Ralph, who never wants to improve their musicianship, their style, their presence. Why? Because they just gonna sit there and inside the band forever, and everybody else is trying to improve. They're just trying to maintain. Well, nobody wants an employee. Yes, if you run a company, you might want an employee like that because you need seats and butts and seats. But if you're running an entrepreneur effort, you need people who are trying to improve, because that's the energy you're going to play off of. Those are the people who are going to bring stuff to you. You're not going to try, to try and straddle them is just a terrible thing. So that all of those things are, just not it's not a smart move for a business person to try and straddle their employees, their contractors, or anything like that. I mean, really.
And when you're distributing music. So think of it that way. If you're a distributor of canned goods or distributor of something, don't you want it in multiple locations? Yes, you do. Do you not want your music in multiple locations? Yes, you do.
Right. Well, crime syndicates operate that way.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is not right. This is not this. This is not that. So,
run.
Right. Exactly. Nobody wants to be associated with that.
Yeah, you got to run from something like that. It's been a great show. We've had a great live audience actually on multiple screens over here. So, putting out a message out there. Thank you to all of you who have been just interacting back and forth so much. And Danny between Danny Jones and Henry Turner Jr., I've got a wealth of information thrown at me nonstop. Aretha Franklin's father was signed and produced out of, I think you mean Shreveport, with Stan Lewis right in the middle of it. They're talking about the different people, about the history coming out of Louisiana and in that area, because I brought up the hayride. So Henry actually knows. So the individual that was actually, I'm not going to go deep into it, but the individual that was an artist with a car full of people and his band that was killed in a car wreck, his son, Tommy, they both have the same name. I'm not going to give his last name right now. He has it all in his garage. He used to be in radio, and he didn't even realize what he had either. So what does that say? Danny, the largest syndicate was started with Stan Lewis leading the pack. I did not want to say one of the names in there. Yeah, you didn't get me on that. I caught that.
But there we go.
There you have it.
So this has been fun. This has been informative and a great conversation.
It is, and we want to remind them about cutting edge. So everyone out there right now, if you're not tuning in live, or you can obviously go back to our channels. You can go to our YouTube. You can go to Tracy Two Step. You can go to Boot Stars Guitars. That's BSG for short. So getting that out there. And right here, I'm bringing up on the screen, Cutting Edge, 34th annual. My goodness. You're going to cut the ribbon there, Eric?
No.
You're not? It
What?
says annual. Okay, it does. It says it on there. But the 34th Cutting Edge Entertainment Seminar, Tuesday, August 25th through the 29th. And you need to check this out. It is in New Orleans. A lot of stuff is going on there. Cutting Edge is Eric Cager over here with us tonight on the show for BSG. Shout out to all of our stations. Shout out to our media companies and everyone else with us too. We're wrapping here towards the very end, and everyone's asking for one song. And I say, okay. And I think it should be 100 meter or Henry. Which one? I'm not going to be the one to. Oh, yeah.
If you got Baton Rouge, then.
Yeah, placement out. Yeah, I know what you're saying over there, Mr. Henry Turner Jr. I'm just not going to say it on a live platform.
And real quick, Tracy, anyone that's going to Cutting Edge Artists, New Orleans is a fantastic town. I mean, I'm just saying, you said it earlier, Tracy, you got to go with that professional mindset.
Yeah, you do.
It's a business too. You just can't, you got to compartmentalize. Go have a great meal, go to one of the bars, but take it serious. Be
Tracy,
at those.
I'm going to send you, I have to find it, a video of 100 meter scream acoustic performance.
Wow. I bet that is.
Then you get to see Ralph's real voice.
Yeah.
Not behind all that sound, all those guitars, but Ralph singing. I'm going to send that to you.
I like that. So out of what I have in here, Ralph, for Eric and everyone else out there, you know that I have Crazy. So there's news there. They are about to drop a song. 100 Meter Scream is about to drop Crazy.
Yes, we are dropping it. I believe on the 29th of August at Cutting Edge. Yeah, we are releasing it. I think they're going to do a little press release on it. And again, it was produced by the great Danny Jones, who again, thanks to Cutting Edge, I would have never met him if it wasn't for you, Eric. So a lot of good things. So we're very proud of what we're doing, and you've just, again, you got to keep going forward, and better things will come as long as you keep pushing. So
yeah, perfect example would be this song. So now Ralph Miguel, their band is 100 Meter Scream. Yes, I said Scream. 100 Meter, METERSCREAM, Scream 100. And those are numbers. Don't spell 100. You don't do that. Same thing with Tracy Two-Step. It's a 2. Don't try to spell two-step. You can't do that. Their song Crazy with 100 Meter Scream is coming out, and they are going to debut at Cutting Edge. Everybody check out cuttingedgenola.com. You'll find all the information that you need to. We appreciate you, Eric Cager, for being with us. I'm going to grab this song. You're welcome to hang here with us. We're going to close up right after that, but I'm going to get out at least one song in our segment. Here it is.
Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy for feeling so blue. I knew that you loved me as long as you wanted, and then someday you'll leave me for somebody new. Crazy for loving you.
All right.
There you have it right there with the show.
Good.
Right. BSG, Booth Stars Guitars, Mr. Eric Cater with Cutting Edge. Over here with Ralph Miguel, 100-meter screen throughout the whole show tonight. BSG. Eric, how did you feel about that song?
I love that song. I've always thought that Ralph had a great voice.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, the band is always, you know, you get these bands that just plan through the music and those who engage in the music. And you know, the 100-meter scream as a unit is engaged in their music.
They are.
So that's, to me, you know, makes for a great song.
It's definitely not a hobby.
Yeah, Danny did a good job on that.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one. Did Danny Jones helped produce this song?
Oh yeah. Danny produced this song.
Yeah.
Danny,
Yeah.
he gave it that muscle.
Jones.
Like Danny said earlier, he had recorded 2 albums in Muscle Shoals, so it definitely that all translated with the great Danny Jones. But Eric, thank you for all the kind words. Listen, tonight, believe it or not, of the shows, this was a special show for me, having you on, and with the history and everything that you know we've been able to do, and God, I mean, thinking back to the first time 15 years ago, being there, and where I'm at now, and with all the great people surrounding me, I'm very grateful to God. So can't thank you all enough, you know. So thank you again, Eric.
Danny says thank you
Danny.
here. Danny's saying thank you.
It was a really good job.
Really good job, Danny. That's by Henry Turner Jr. You got Synapse over here. Bravo, great voice guitar and nice version of Crazy. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love that.
Really good version.
I love it. You've all been tremendous. I love how engaging you have been. This makes me think we need to have a little history panel over at a conference, just based on the conversations we could all get lost and get into in regards to what was happening here tonight. I enjoyed it. I loved hearing all the different things going there. I enjoyed Cutting Edge. I gained knowledge, experience, and I gained truly new value in people and even some friends. So you just,
and 5 pounds. It is New
well,
Orleans.
well, yes, there will be that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And lots of coffee. So
Yeah.
for Eric Cager, we got to keep him full of coffee.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Most definitely. This has been Booth Stars Guitars, BSG. I am Tracy Two-Step, Ralph Miguel,
Absolutely.
and
All
Eric
All
Cager.
right. Yes.
We are all signing out from here.
All right.
One moment.
Little bit reckless, you can't hang, you can't handle Texas.